Start recording. Yeah, start recording. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for shifting this session to Friday. I was not able yesterday to attend, but yeah, you were very kind. Okay, let's say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah, some prayers.
Yeah.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are towards the end of our second principle, and I think we have just few slides left. So the last one was that one, which is slide number, I will tell you, 20. Satsanga, can you see it nicely? Can you see it? Satsanga means assembly discussion. Do you remember Vikramini read it and she did her understanding. She said that she knows from experience that if devotees don't discuss and they don't come together, just work for Krishna, then at the end, actually, the result is not really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember, Anandamayi?
Yes.
Are you all right,
Yes.
Anandamayi?
Yes. I just shifted myself to this comfortable chair.
No, that's all right. As long as you are fine and healthy and everything is all right. Yeah. Yes. Make yourself comfortable. That's a good. Okay. So, any one of you, Anandamai, would you like to read that quote again? Because Vikramini read it last time. She did her understanding. If you need to add something towards the understanding, then you can do it. And then I can say maybe a few things, and then we can move to the next one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Satsanga means assembly, discussion. If you are not interested in association, discussion, then you are finished. When you have got this center, it is not that you should be engaged from morning till you go to bed for sense gratification. That is not life. That is karma's life. You have no time for satsanga, for association. You cannot make any progress by this sort of karma's life. We have to work for organization, but not that whole day and night engaged and no satsanga. This is a misguided policy and it will spoil the whole structure. Room conversation, and I don't see when it's too small.
It's Delhi, 18th of November, 73. It's in Delhi. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Vikramini said what is her answer to the questions. So the question is, what does Srila Prabhupada say about the tendency to focus exclusively on physical service? So is it enough just to work for Krishna? So what is your answer to that question? I mean, how would you answer that if you if you have read that quote? How would you answer that? Is it okay just to work from morning till evening?
No, of course not. We need the satsanga. But my question is, if somebody has no inclination, absolutely no inclination towards the philosophy, towards some understanding, and the only thing the person can do is work for work for Krishna, he can also make some progress, isn't it?
Okay, we'll get to that question, but if you first just tell me what you understand from that quote, will be really nice, and then we can go to the questions. First, we have to do understanding to see what we understand. whether we understand it properly, how we do understand it, and then once we are sure that we understood what Prabhupada is saying, then we can go to the questions. Do you mind if we do that? I hope you know. Yeah.
So Prabhupada is saying that to just work from morning till evening and and not participating in discussion and not being interested in satsanga is practically karma's life. It's not a devotional life, and he doesn't recommend it that we just do physical work without association.
Okay, so you understanding like Vikramini that Prabhupada here, his recommendation is that we should have the association, we should have the sangha with other devotees, and not just work from morning till evening. And yeah, otherwise, if that's happen, if this is happening, we work from morning till evening, and we don't have the other part of it, the association, the sangha, then he says that that's equal to karma life. So that is your understanding. Have I understood you properly?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. And anything else? Do you have do you understand from that?
And the other important point is that if we don't follow this instruction or advice of Prabhupada, then the whole our whole structure of community or temple structure will not function, will break down.
So yeah, Prabhupada is furthering that. He's exploring it more, that if this is happening on regular basis and we don't follow his advice on sadhu sangha or association, then everything what we have as a structure as is ISKCON will start crumbling down. It won't be sustainable. Yeah. Very good point. Yeah, so Vikramini had the same points.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. And I also understand it in that way, that we do need the discussion and the association to go hand in hand with working, not just working from morning till evening, and then so many temples, if you go, the devotees will, oh, I don't have time for these things. I'm so busy. I have so much service. I don't have time. So yes, I've been in the temple. I lived in the temple. I was the same. I would wake up and straight after the morning program, then that's it. You work all day long, and sometimes not even evening program because you're so tired. You need to go and rest. So yeah, I do understand it in the same way. So your question, Anandamayi, is that if the devotees who actually are not inclined to discuss, to listen, but they just like to work, are they making any progress? I think that was the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how you would like to explore your own question? Would you like to explore it yourself and see whether you can come up with a light, or do you want me to give a light myself, or maybe Vikramini?
I think they do make some progress because they are engaged. They are engaged in devotional service. They do make some very slow progress. And the first sign of progress probably will be that they do want to have association and discussion after a while.
Okay, so in your understanding, yes, definitely they make progress, but it's a little and it's slow. And how this progress will show will be that they will develop that desire for association and discussion. That is how the progress will show itself. That actually
Yeah.
there's progress there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great point. I would I would support it. I mean, I can understand it in the same way. That would you like to say something more? I didn't ask you. Sorry, I just start responding straight away.
Me?
Yeah, like on that point. No, you're finished.
No,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah, yeah. I completely agree that even if you work for Krishna, you make some little progress. Obviously, you know that's the point of it. But what Prabhupada is saying here, and I would like to. The question is the tendency to focus exclusively on service. So the point is that if someone is working and they don't have any desire to hear at all or to discuss how this service is different from their karmic work, you know, what it makes activity a service is their consciousness behind, isn't it? So they need to hear in order for their material activity to transfer to spiritual activity. So that's why Prabhupada made it like compulsory that we attend at least one program or one lecture or something. We need to hear. If you see that quote, it's not just hearing, it means discussing. It's not just you see it and hear aimlessly. We need to engage in conversation. So I think the point of that quote here is just to show us that Prabhupada really wanted us, when we gather together like Ishta Goshti or something like that, to discuss mainly. And what to discuss, not to discuss who gonna wash the dishes. Maybe that's also important. But in that type of assembly, spiritually, we need to discuss the scriptures, his purpose, how we can apply his instructions in our life. So this is essential for everyone to transfer from karmic life or from what we are doing anyway, sweeping our house, to sweeping the temple, but we need the consciousness behind. So that's my point. And obviously, yes, you're right. They will make some slow advancement, but it will be very slow. And very often, people who are not interested in hearing, you can see that they drop after some times. They just cannot sustain their devotional service. It's not visible. They cannot. They just go away, or I don't know, get into sense gratification, or so many things, but they cannot sustain it. So that's the point of that quote, just to emphasize the importance of discussing Prabhupada's books. So that's my light on it. I don't know if you would like to comment, or you are okay with that.
Yeah, I agree with this, that they do something because they offer the result of their work to Krishna. So that does have some result, but it has to. They cannot stay on the same spot for too long, because then they're gonna sink.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you meant, I think, when you.
Yeah, exactly. You understood me perfectly well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's, so Vikramini, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes.
Would you like to?
I remember one quote from Srila Prabhupada. He said that our movement is meant for educating brahmanas, and everyone should become like brahmana, which means that every devotee, even though he maybe have no inclination to study shastra or some complicated things, but every devotee should try to have his minimum understanding of basic spiritual matters, and this is possible by listening, by discussion, and by attending the programs. And
Okay, so yeah.
yes, and moreover, Srila Prabhupada said that human life start with inquiring about absolute truth, about Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. And if we cannot asking about Krishna, about absolute truth, that that means we have no proper how to say we stuck on this platform, on basic platform. We should strive to move forward.
Okay, so you're saying that you read the quote. It would be nice if you can find that quote for the benefit of, not now, but maybe late after that, for benefit of all, where Prabhupada says that our movement is meant to educate Brahmanas, and that, we should, you said that the human life begins with Atatu Brahma Jigyasa. We have to inquire about absolute truth. So we need to develop that desire. We need to be trained, and we need to develop that desire to inquire, to get understanding, to get knowledge. And if we stay only on a physical service, which is necessary and should be there, but if it's only exclusively that, then it's a very basic, and it could. You didn't say it, but yeah, I guess you cannot sustain it for a long time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Are you happy, Anandamayi, with that that exploration of your question, or you still you'd like to? Maybe if we cover the rest of the quotes, there are 3 of them, maybe some light will come up, and then
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that, and then we can come back, because after we cover that, the rest of the time we can. You had one question, and Vikramini, she said she had some questions. We can cover them if that's all right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Actually, in Bhagavatam, in the first canto, no, in the second canto, the first canto. Anyway, I'll look for that and I'll send it to both of you. I don't remember was it first or second canto, but Srila Prabhupada says that the life should be, we should strive to have a healthy life and self-preserve ourselves, so only and solely to be able to inquire about absolute truth. So that's so crucial and so important, that actually our life is meant for that, for the inquiry. Everyone can work. Everyone can do all the menial service, and I don't emphasize that that's not necessary. It's completely necessary, but not exclusively. It shouldn't be so much that you have any inquiry. I will find that. I will find that that quote, and I will send it to you. It's a verse, actually. I think it's in Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe first canto. Self-realization. I'm trying to see if I have it in my notes here. Anyway, let's go further. Does anyone knows this verse from you? Do you remember it from Bhagavatam, first canto?
I remember this, but I don't remember where it is.
First canto.
That's my weakness.
Yeah, yeah, mine also. My husband is perfect with these things. As soon as I say the verse, and he knows from where it is, and I don't remember things like that. But it's all right. Okay, let's go to the next quote. So, okay, what is the next quote? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay, so who would like to read that? This is a letter. Yeah? Can you see it?
Yes.
Would you like to read it? Shall I make it a little bit bigger for you?
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay.
It is better to maintain a devotee than to try to convince others to become devotees. Your first job should be to make sure that every one of the devotees in your zone of management is reading regularly our literatures and discussing the subject matter seriously from different angles of seeing, and that they are somehow or other absorbing the knowledge of Krishna consciousness philosophy. If they are fully educated in our philosophy, and if they can get all of the knowledge and study it from every viewpoint, then very easily they will perform tapasya or renunciation, and that will be their advancement in Krishna consciousness. Letter to Satsvarupa Goswami, but I cannot see the
160672 is the date. Yes, amazing quote letter. So,
Yeah.
okay, I'll give to Vikramini. Vikramini, please, can you tell us quickly what do you understand from here? First, let's ask that question, the last question of Chintamani's questions. What is the most important way we can discharge our responsibilities to our dependents, subordinates, and friends? Can you see it from that quote?
Yes, from that quote, Srila Prabhupada said that every devotee should reading regularly our literatures and discussing the subject matter.
Okay, so you were saying what you're trying to tell me what you understand from that. Yeah. Okay, so first, what you understand, the first point is that regularly we have to read and discuss Prabhupada's purports and the Holy Scriptures. Yeah, that's
Yes.
what you're getting. Okay, something else you're getting from that?
And by understanding this Krishna conscious philosophy, one can very easily perform tapasya. And tapasya means renunciation from material attachments, and this is advancement in Krishna consciousness. By reading, by deeply understanding this philosophy, one can get rid from material attachment and by performing tapasya.
Okay, great. So you're also getting from that verse that by going deeply into philosophy, by understanding it truly, then that will help us to perform austerity, and we'll be able actually to give up material attachment.
Yes.
So it's like crucial to go deeply in the philosophy. Is that what you're understanding?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Something else?
No.
Okay, so if you read that quote, let me see if that was, 1 second, I just want to check something, 1 second. Yeah, okay, yeah. So if you read that quote, so this is a letter to Satsvarupa Maharaj, yeah?
Yes.
And he was at that time either some kind of, I don't know if, probably he was already sannyasi, most probably. I'm not sure at that time, most probably, but he was kind of a leader, either temple president or some kind, or either, I don't know. But what is his responsibility, or what is his first duty he needs to look? Can you find it in the quote?
Yes,
Yeah.
your first job should be to make sure that every one of the devotees in your zone of management is reading regularly our literatures and discussing the subject matter seriously from different angles of seeing.
Okay, so at that time, Satsvarupa Maharaj was the leader, whatever, the temple president, I don't know what kind of a leader was exactly at that year. But obviously he's a leader, and Prabhupada is addressing him as a leader because he has responsibilities for the devotees under him. He's looking. So Chintamani is asking a question, and I think it's a very pertinent question and very important. So we all have people who we are looking after, and we all have people, either children or friends or devotees who are, younger devotees who we are looking after or we are supporting, or even relatives, which, okay, it depends. Some relatives could be devotees, some might not be. But anyway, we all have people which we are affiliated to. And what is our responsibility? What should be our responsibility according to that quote? So maybe Anandamayi can try now.
Yes, the main responsibility is to make sure that they have time to read the books, and not just read the books, but examine the content with different point of view and discuss it.
Yes.
And this other, what is standing out for me very much, because it's still not done properly today, is this, that in this quote, that instead of going out and convincing others, this is even more important, which we still don't many times, we don't implement it yet.
Yeah, thank you, Anandamayi. Yeah, good point. So, okay, so what you understand from here, as Vikramini also noticed it, is that our responsibility as whatever, whoever we are looking after, so our responsibilities to these people will be to make for them, if they're devotees, but even if they don't know devotees, if they're children, to make a sufficient time where we can come together, sit and discuss, try to deepen our understanding, how Vikramini mentioned, into our philosophy, discuss it from different angles of vision. If you can see, it's very important, different angles of vision, not just one point at my vision. So and the other thing, what you notice is the first bit of the letter where Prabhupada is saying that it's more important, and you mentioned that still is not doing today, that instead of trying to get new people, just try to maintain, just try to raise up the consciousness of the people who are already in ISKCON, who already joined. Is that what you're understanding, Vikramini? Vikramini,
Yes.
sorry, Anandamayi, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, great points. Yeah. So yeah, these are the two. So really nice points. You both capture it very well. What actually Prabhupada is trying to tell us, that actually this is, and I think kind of that quote answers your question, Anandamayi. Is it answering it in a way?
The question what I just put
The
before,
previous one, which we discussed, yeah, that if we in charge of people, we should make time for them that they're not so tired, so they're able, and even if they don't have inclination, we should try to encourage them. I think this is like we should try to encourage them, to instill in them this how to say, taste for hearing. I can admit actually that if I have to sit 1 hour or 1.5 hours or 2 hours just hearing without me participating and without me be able to ask questions or engage with the subject matter, unless I'm very, I'm like, well, I'm not hungry, I slept well, all my senses are calm and my mind is calm. Unless this is in place, it's very hard for me to hear. Honestly, it's very hard for a prolonged time. So the point is that everyone who is coming from a culture of, hearing, we are used to hearing be so kind of rubbish. So everyone who comes from that culture, it will be strenuous to sit and hear about philosophy and the absolute truth, especially if we're so much contaminated with material subject matters. But the responsibilities of our leaders, and we are also leaders in a small way, because we also have people looking after, is to instill in them that, to help them to develop it, to discuss with them, to give them chance to participate, to engage the subject matter. Then I think it becomes more interested for them and they are more willing to do it instead of just work. So that,
Can I say something to this?
Yes, of course.
It's a very good way to encourage people who maybe cannot immediately approach the philosophy to read the Mahabharata, to read the Ramayana together. There is this amazing series of Krishna Dharma and Chintamani, the Bhagavatam in a story form.
Exactly.
It is very accessible, very easily digestible, but at the same time full of wisdom and truth.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're saying that if someone is not interested in deep philosophy, they can start with stories just to get them to get taste of that, and slowly, go into the philosophy. Yeah. I would like to admit something. I think you'll find it interesting. So I have an auntie, and my auntie, she's an amazing person. Maybe Vikramini have seen her, maybe not. Sometimes she comes to the temple, not very often, but she was forced to live with us for 8 years. So, I mean, she is a very nice lady, but she doesn't like studies at all. No studies. For her mind, she is not clever enough to do these things. She cannot understand them. She cannot. She likes stories, but philosophy, forget it. Never, ever. So the first thing what she read was Mahabharata, and she really liked it. Krishna book, she liked it. Also, there was inside a lot of stories. But still, I could not get her sit and discuss with us for a long time. And I figured out that she doesn't like to sit and discuss with us because she thinks that she's too, not stupid, but she is not bright enough to understand, to reflect. She cannot do these things. She doesn't have brain for that. So in order to get her to discuss with us, I had to start with the stories and ask her just to reflect to me. Okay, what do you understand? Why they did that? With the questions, just to get her taste, just to show her that actually she's not so dumb, or she's bright enough actually to read and reflect. But it took some time. So what I'm trying to say is that people need sometimes a taste for that, and especially leaders have the responsibilities to give that taste to their whoever they're looking after, to give that, or relatives or children, or other devotees, to give that taste, and how by discussing, and not discussing, I'm going to give you a lecture, but asking them to interact, just to be, to see their own understanding, reflect to them. All these principles of discussions are really good because they show the person that actually they can understand for themselves. They don't need a big lecture in order to grasp some little understanding. So I wanted to show you that with you. I hope that it
Thank
was
you.
helpful. Yeah. So so anything else on that slide? Vikramini, are you happy with that? Do you need to add something to that?
Absolutely. I'm happy
Yeah.
with your insight.
Isn't it, Jayanti, just one thing that, isn't it interesting how it says this quote that by understanding, studying in this way and understanding the knowledge, then that will make it easy to perform tapasya.
Yes.
This connection that from this will sprout out this that tapasya will not feel like a big austerity anymore. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yes, very interesting.
For me, at least.
Very interesting, and I think very doable. So if someone finds themselves that they cannot perform tapasya, maybe they should improve their sadhusanga. Yeah. So if someone comes and said, "Oh, I cannot do austerities, I cannot perform this and that, I just cannot." Okay, then maybe this is a way to say, look, if we improve our sadhusanga, maybe the strength will come. You get enthusiasm and strength. Yeah, it's really interesting, and I think it's a very, very helpful, I would say, like a very good, how do you say, a tool, how to come to that position. How to come to that position. Okay, so we cover everything. I think that was the point, that our responsibilities is to give chance to people to discuss, mainly to discuss, and please just know that from different angles of vision, it's very important. That if your child or your auntie or your father or whoever, your mother or your neophyte devotee, they come and sit with you and discuss, and they read and they understand, and the way how they understand might not be your point of view, is not necessary, is not, we shouldn't, anyway, we will come to these principles, but you see that we don't have to shame them, or we don't have to put them down. It's very important to validate that that point of view, because it could be a valid point of view. The absolute truth can be seen from many angles of vision. Okay, so I'm going to the next verse, to the next quote. If you're happy with that one, and you don't have anything to add or to say on that,
I'm happy.
Vikramini,
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's
go to the next one then. Why I cannot transfer them like that? Oh okay. So I'll give now. Who read the last one? Vikramini, you did it, yeah?
Yeah.
So maybe Anandamayi, can you try now? This is a very nice. This is my favorite. One of my favorite quotes, actually. Okay, let's go.
Jayanti, can you make it a little bigger? It's really small for me now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, I'll try. Let's see, like that. Can you see it better? Or no? No, I can't make it bigger like that.
Cannot
The
make it
problem
bigger?
is, no. Okay, let me see if I.
Anyway, let's try. If it doesn't work, I just give it over.
To Vikramini. Oh, can read it, but can you try now? Yeah, it's really small actually.
Maybe Vikramini could read it if it's bigger for her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've actually opened this question guide.
Yeah, the question guide. But
Okay. Bhagavad Gita 13:8 to 12 purport. The best process for making the home pleasant for Krishna consciousness, if one is in full Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy, because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only chant Hare Krishna, accept the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna, have some discussion on books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These four things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. If one can mold his family life in this way to develop Krishna consciousness following these four principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounced life.
yeah. Okay, this is also again showing the responsibilities to our family member or people who are depending on us. So, who would like to go first? Maybe last time it was Vikramini. So maybe Anandamayi, try you go first. So what are the things Prabhupada recommend here to for someone who is in a family life? We all in a family lives. We all have children. I don't, but anyway, you do. You do have children. I have a husband. So, okay, what is the recommendation here?
So Prabhupada gave 4 principles in this purport. If we follow those 4 main principles, then we will be happy in family life. And that is, we chant, we eat prasadam, we read and discuss the books, especially the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we do deity worship. And in this way, the family is harmonious, and we don't need to worry about further renunciation if we do these 4 things.
Okay, so the 4 things Prabhupada is suggesting here for everyone who is family bound, family bound. So worship deities, offer to the deities food, which we take, the family members take together. Chant in the morning and in the evening, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Discuss books like Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, and that will be sufficient. All these 4 things will be sufficient for us not to go to sannyas or either to renounce or go to the forest. If every family is doing that, these 4 things, chanting, discussing Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, worshipping the deities, and taking prasadam, which the food stuff which is offered to the deities, then that's sufficient for us to advance in Krishna consciousness without going to the forest. Is that what you understand, Anandamayi?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. Vikramini, would you like to add something to that? Do you see something else in that world?
No.
I would just the best process of making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. So if we have any problems in our home, I think that these 4 things are good guide for us to follow in order to become pleasant and peaceful. And grihastas, if you think, do 3 of them very, very well. Most of the grihastas have deities. All of the grihastas, okay, not all, but maybe majority of the grihastas offer their, I hope that all, but sometimes, I don't know, but offer their food to the deities and they take prasadam. And they chant Hare Krishna because they promise their spiritual master they will chant Hare Krishna, either together like a kirtan or separately. But the one thing which is not done by most of the grihastas is sitting morning and evening and discussing Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, if you think. And in my understanding, in my opinion, that's the driving force. If the understanding of why we're doing these things are not there, then sooner or later we'll become like Hindus. We'll just do things. Oh, you offer to the deities just because you know you have to do it. You do the puja because you know you have to do it. Or I chant my rounds because I know I have to do it. But what actually gives consciousness alive and life to these things is discussing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And discussing them is no different from chanting the holy names. It's equal. And I can give you a quote for that if you want. So that's my understanding, and I think it's not emphasized enough that grihastas should do, not grihastas everyone, but especially grihastas should, in order to have a harmonious Krishna conscious life, we need that 4 things of discussing Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So I don't know if you need to say something or to add something. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Or what would you like to say?
I agree. And I also very much agree with this, that this is the most neglected part of the 4 principle here.
Yeah. Yes, because it's not emphasized enough, I think.
By our leaders, or
yeah, both. I think yeah, mainly leaders. But I would say, you know, like when it comes to grihasta leaders, like people who give lectures in the temple, they talk generally and they talk to everyone in general. But in general, the discussions of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita are not emphasized. At least then, for grihastas are busy people. Most of them, they have to do tons of stuff. They have to look after children. They have to maintain family. They have to generate funds. They have to go to work. Many of the grihastas, they have long hours at work. So they have very short time. And when, you know, when, I don't know, but in general, they try to cover the essentials. Okay, we have to offer always our food. We have to chant always our rounds. And worshipping the deity, okay, when we can. But the discussion is not there because it's not seen as something important. But it is integral part. It is very important for making the home pleasant and happy. Yeah. So that's
why do you think it's not emphasized enough? Why is it not emphasized? After so many years, even still now, it's not emphasized.
I can't say, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why it's not. Maybe it is emphasized. Maybe we don't perceive it like that because we are not interested in that. I don't know. But in general, in classes, yeah, we hear how important is chanting and serving and all that, and it is very important. But the discussions are integral part of our spiritual life. So I have no idea. Maybe because I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I have no idea. And yeah, but Vikramini, would you like to say something, dear?
Some devotees emphasize it on studying the Shastras. For instance, my spiritual master stress on that devotees should study the Shastras and they have to finish at least Bhakti Shastri. They have to attend Bhakti Shastri and so on. But for discussions of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, very few devotees stressed on this point.
Okay, so you're saying the devotees emphasize, but they emphasize studying it, like going to Bhakti
Yes.
Shastri, getting overview of Bhagavad Gita,
Yes.
in like nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, and
Yes.
Bhakti Vaibhava, like a Bhagavatam overview. But they don't emphasize so much on sitting and discussing. It's more like studying, like you
Yes.
sit and study.
Actually, for example, devotees here in Bulgaria, they make this course, Bhakti Shastri, more or less like discussion. They explain some shloka. They talk about some principles, and devotees start to give questions, and there are some discussion, but this is not the main point. Discussion. They discussion is on I don't know how to say.
Кажи го на български.
Да, в смисъл, че те нали, задават някакви въпроси, отговарят, нали, но не се получава точно като дискусия. Малко така.
Okay, I will just reflect. I will reflect in English for the benefit of Anandamayi. Yes. So you're saying that Bhakti Shastra in Bulgaria, there is questions and answers, and you know they try to, but it's not really like a discussion. It's more like a question and answers. You know, I give it. Yeah, it's not really like a discussing from a different angles of vision.
Yes. I just one insight, my realization. Maybe this is because discussions is mainly among the equal devotees. When we have когато ние имаме някаква иерархия, когато имаме някакви по-старши и по-младши бхакти, тогава няма как, трудно е да има дискусия, защото все пак трябва да има някакво, нали, еднакво ниво.
Okay, so she's saying that maybe discussion is not emphasized because discussion should happen between equals. So when there is a hierarchy, different hierarchy, it can't come to like a really discussion. It's more like questioning and answering, like that. So it cannot be really a discussion from different angles of vision. Yes, she's right in that sense that, you know, like in ISKCON, studying of the books is really emphasized, like studying. Although studying, we perceive it like studying integral part of studying of the book should be discussion as well, if you think. And discussion should be always there. What I think Prabhupada is emphasizing here is more for the Grihastas. Grihastas, they don't have time so much for Bhakti Shastra and this and that. They might find time. But for example, if I do Bhakti Shastra, it doesn't mean that my kids and my husband and everyone in my home will do Bhakti Shastra. They won't. I will do it only. And that's it. It will finish with me. with my study, personal study, which is important. We should do it. We should try to find. But here Prabhupada is talking about making the home pleasant, making the home united, husband and wife to stay in a good relationships. They need Krishna between them. They need Krishna to unite them, and they need Krishna. How? They cannot sit, and if they do separately Bhakti Shastri, this is not going to unite them. But if they sit every day, morning, evening, together with their kids and discuss one sentence, two sentences, try to see it from different, it's a different setup. It's not much concentrated on the academics that you get a lot of knowledge. You get little bit of knowledge, but you get transformation, and transformation comes through discussion. You sit, you discuss one, two sentences, one word. Where was that quote? I have so many quotes, I don't know. It's so difficult to find them. Prabhupada says one word, only one word. If you try to understand, it was even one word. I found it. I'm reading it to you. It's from let's see. This is from Morning Walk in Bombay, April 4th, 74. Without understanding, if you follow like a storm, that is no use. That is no use. Slow but sure. Go slow. And that is the defect in the modern. If somebody can recite Bhagavad Gita like a storm, it is to be understood that he has perfected himself. No. Let him explain at least one word of Bhagavad Gita. That is one. Slow but sure. That is going on. The professional Bhagavad Gita reciters, they jump over Krishna's Rasa Leela. The rascal does not explain the first line of Bhagavatam, Janmadya Yasya Yataha. It requires many years to understand that one word, Janmadya Yasya Yataha, Bhagavatam 111. And he jumps over. Bhagavata recitation means Rasa Leela. That is going on. That has spoiled the whole atmosphere. So what Prabhupada is saying, we don't need to know the whole knowledge. We don't need to recite the whole Bhagavatam and cite shloka left and right. If we can, that's great. But no, that's not the point. We need to understand one word. We need to be able to explain that one word. We need to be able to discuss it. And Prabhupada is saying, if you do it with your family, if you do it with if you live in the ashram with your ladies who you're in charge or whatever devotees, new devotees you're looking, if you do it with them, one word, two words, there will be transformation. Slowly but surely they will transform. They don't need to know a vast knowledge, which will be just cram. You know what is cram?
No.
Do you know? No, cram. Cram, I know in Bulgaria. I don't know how to say it in Bulgarian language, означава да бъде назубрено.
Aha.
Cram means when you know, for example, if you go for exam, you cram it, the answer, and you know it just to write it down for the exam.
Mhm.
You know, cramming is without understanding. You just retain the information just for the result
Mhm.
to write the exam, and then you don't retain it. It doesn't transform you. It doesn't stay with you. Yes, you want to say something, Anandamayi?
Yes,
Please.
that this is one of the reasons why we are not doing it, I think, besides other things, but one is that our whole education system is based on this. At least, I don't know, maybe in the West it's a little different, but definitely here and in the Eastern region, definitely the whole system is like that. everybody, you just cram it or what you
Yeah,
said it.
exactly.
That's the main thing. You cram it. You don't have to think. You don't have to ask. You don't have to. There is no creativity is needed. In fact, it's better if you don't have it, because as soon as you have it, that means that we have to go deeper into something, and it's a challenging situation for the one who is giving the knowledge,
Exactly.
because probably he himself doesn't understand many times what's behind it. So we are, unfortunately, we are socialized in this way. We are trained, or I don't know, trained in this way. That's one thing. And the other thing is that in the Western country, on the other hand, we are very result oriented. So, oh, I read the Bhagavad Gita 10 times and the Bhagavatam 20 times. Wow, amazing, amazing, 20 times. What did you understand? Nothing, but I read it 20 times. Great, great. Let the bells ring for you that you read it. How many books you distributed? Or how many? How much? How many times? And this is not so spectacular, that, oh my God, I understood this one word. How amazing. Nobody's gonna clap for that. So I think these are also some reasons that creative thinking is it has to be awakened in us, because it's not, we are not trained for that.
Exactly. Okay, so you're saying that two reasons why you're realizing this is not emphasized enough. In the Western country, you don't know how in the West it is, but in the West, in the Eastern country, not in the Western, but in the Eastern country, very often we try to cram for exams just to retain the information as much as that we need that mark to pass, that we know that we have the diploma, and it's not encouraged so much to go deep into discussion and understanding, because it sometimes could be a challenging situation for the teacher, who might also not understand very well the subject matter in depth. So maybe he also know it as much as, like cram it enough to give it to you. So that's one thing, and the other thing is results oriented. Um, if we have a lot of knowledge, we know a lot of shlokas, we can recite Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, we read it 10, 13 times, that's great. Everyone, is impressed. Even we impressed with ourselves. But, okay, I yesterday understood one word from Bhagavatam, or one sentence, or I spent 1 month on one sentence of Bhagavatam, and this is like, oh, not really something desirable, because it doesn't look like you're achieving anything with that. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
true. We are not achieving much in terms of quantity, but of information, getting a lot of information, but we're achieving something more valuable: transformation. Little bit, if we're able to transform our character, little bit, then it will get us to,
Yeah.
to a better situation spiritually. Because the whole point of the spiritual knowledge, Prabhupada says, is to transform. Go slowly. You don't need to recite like a storm. No need for that. Okay, yeah, that's great. Let's see. I think the time is already. So I think this is the last one. Shall we do that one and finish, or you want to leave it? If you have many questions, then I can leave it for the next time together with the questions. If the questions are not so many, maybe we can cover this one. But it's already 37, and I know Vikramini today is quite busy.
Yes.
So she made exception, just 1 hour. Okay, let's leave that last one. This is the last. There are no anymore after that. This is the last. And then any questions and discussions we need to do, we can do it. And maybe next time, if we don't get it up to 1 hour, it's all right. But we're gonna finish the first and second principle, and then from after that, we're gonna start the third. Is that fine with two of you?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes, slowly is better, Prabhupada says.
Yes.
So let's go slowly. We don't need the labels here that we are big Gyanis, because we are not.
Exactly.
Okay, I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for your association and yeah, for your participation. And see you next Thursday. So we're gonna leave it on Thursday for now. Is that all right for everyone?
For me, it's okay.
Yes.
For you? So mine 7 o'clock. Yours 8 o'clock, Anandamayi. Vikramini, you are 9. Unfortunately, it's a little bit
No
late for you.
problem.
No
No
problem.
problem.
You're gonna be all right.
Yes.
Okay. So please accept my humble obeisances. And thank you so much, dear Vaishnavis.
Thank you.
See you next
Hare
time,
Krishna.
next
Hare Krishna.
Thursday.
Thank
Haribo,
you.
Hare Krishna. Let me close now.